Today's adventure brings us back, oh yes, to the Garcade Unlimited free play. Gosh, we haven't been to the Garcade for, I want to say April. I know they're at the Midwest Gaming Classic. Might have been here after, thinking it was before that. Kind of missed out on a summer kind of tour to see what's changed, what's new at the Garcade. Figured beginning of fall 2024 we'll make it back here, check out everything new at, dare I say, one of the best arcades in the state of Wisconsin. Oh, and play pinball here. You know, back when we were here last, we'd always see a familiar face, Mr. Sulu from Star Trek, and unfortunately he is no longer over here. I always thought it was kind of an homage to maybe picking up the Star Trek At Games Legend ALP 4K, but Mr. Sulu long gone. I don't know if this is a vacuum store or if it's a collectible store, because you see a bunch of nostalgic things and it's just right next door to the Garcade. Join me for an overdue episode. It's been a long time, not only since we've been to the Garcade, but since we did a Wristbands Required. Usually we start off with the arcades, but today I opted for the pinball, and the reason is, you know, for the first time, and I've stated this in the past, that I am gonna buy in on the At Games. It's gonna happen. When I saw Jurassic Park, I just kind of did a walkthrough of the entire arcade, the Garcade, and when I came to the pinball, seeing Jurassic Park, it just gets me excited. This is the one that I want to get. Now, I do have a couple of things. If you're familiar with the Pinball Expo coming up, At Games will be there, and they're going to be selling some of their models, and you can actually leave that day with some of the pinball. They're going to have everything on display, including Jurassic Park. Downside, it doesn't sound like you're going to be able to be taking Jurassic Park with you. So, you know, you gotta do some thinking. I think things could change when I get there if I'm anticipating on purchasing, but just kind of excited about pinball right now. Garcade will be decked out for Halloween. You'll see some Halloween decor throughout this tour. Look at this old relic pinball. We got a Hot Wheels. Just saying how popular Hot Wheels is. You know, every time we go to Hobby Lobby, we see so much Hot Wheels. Star Trek is another one. And again, this is why I wanted to come over by the pinball. It's possible. There's so much backstory with Star Trek, Next Generation, Star Trek OG. Not so much like Deep Space Nine stuff, or, you know, kind of the newer Star Trek. But of course, this show, I've seen just about every episode, every movie, numerous times, including the OG. Why when we saw Mr. Sulu next door was so exciting, and, you know, it just brought back, you know, that whole nostalgia for me. Did have a lot of fun playing Lethal Weapon 3 the last time we were here. They do have a cool Star Wars and, of course, Arnold T2. Now, unfortunately, no Jaws, and I get excited when I see Jaws. I think it's a really cool pinball, something that, you know, one day I'd actually like to have Jaws, but the fact that it's on At Games, you know, as long as you can play the game, you can see it on the back glass, I think that pretty much works for me. And all their racers, the Fast and Furious, the Super Bikes, Hydro Thunder, Cruisin', San Francisco Rush, and Alcatraz Edition are all against the back wall. Pretty much the same racers were here the last time. Didn't really notice anything really new with the pinball, except the Jurassic Park. I don't know if it was here last time. They do have a new sign. Oh, and the Stranger Things. Cosmotrons, one of their biggest arcades here. It's been here for as long as I've been coming here. Always cool to see this. I've seen other renders at other arcades, but this one holding the staple in between the pinball and the rest of the arcade machines. And then on the other side of the pinball are the racers we just looked at, and then the Gauntlet Legacy 4-player, Star Wars trilogy, one of the best, you know, most popular arcades, Karate Champ, Sinistar Joust, Robotron 2084. That's a good one. May the Force be with Boo. 720. I mean, I gotta admit, this would be a really cool arcade if they redid this in like a home arcade version. It's cool. You don't see a lot of these. Such an iconic look. Look at that skateboard. Look at the joystick. It just goes in a complete circle. It's kind of like the off-road. You know, if you think about just going through that track. Some of the same old classics, Burger Time. You got Marble Madness, Galaga, and Star Wars. Just draws you to it. Across is Gyrus, Choplifter, Donkey Kong Jr., Contra, Q*bert, that Omega Race. Look at the monitor. It's like broadcasting up against that big hollow area. That is really cool. Game of the month is Shadow Warriors. High score, 1 credit, wins a soda. No continues allowed. Can only win once. I thought it was X-Men versus Street Fighter, but no, it's Shadow Warriors. I always like walking up to the 3-player Rampage. Just the way a lot of the cabinets, I wish we could get, you know, the home versions, the arcade 1-ups, you know, the classic, the way 3-player games are supposed to be. That'd be cool. You know, I'd like to see something like that in the future. Probably never happen, but you can always hope for it. We got elevator action, a Tetris arcade, Gravitar. Not familiar with Gravitar. Pole position 2 is unfortunately not feeling well today. Look at Assault. Look at that tank. And the controls right here. Just so early 80s, late 70s, isn't it? Nothing really different at the Garcade than the last time we were here. They just kind of shuffled a couple of cabinets around, but this is kind of the Street Fighter 2 area. They have Dr. Mario, Frogger, Donkey Kong, Mr. Do. Yeah, pretty much the same look. I was kind of hoping we'd see a couple of new cabinets here. Not sure if the 720 was here last time, like we stated. I know Moon Patrol was kind of over in the corner, but I was really hoping that we'd come across Narc today. I think the Witch was too. New Asteroids Deluxe, another, you know, very similar. How you know, it just goes all the way back, and you know, the monitors kind of showing everything in front of you. I just love that marquee. Spy Hunter music was just going on. Like, it's just like, it drew me over here. One of the best handles I've ever had. I mean, just this thing is so solid. Totally Don Johnson. I actually watched Miami Vice yesterday. I'm like, I thought Spy Hunter the entire time I watched it. And it helps that he had a really cool race car in the show. How does a cop afford that, by the way? And what's an arcade without NBA Jam? And then across are the shooters. You have Carnival King, Area 51, Terminator 2, House of the Dead, Big Buck World, Zombie Raid, another Area 51 with Maximum Force, Time Crisis 2, look at above it, games, and then Ghost Squad. Be cool if that was lit up. This one looks really good. Sega. I don't think I've ever played Ghost Squad before. This is identical to that MX-24 we got from Retro Shooter. That's where they got that design from. I had no idea. It's exactly the same. Unbelievable. So yeah, they got it from Ghost Squad. To see if that's on the Retro Shooter. I've never played this game. And behind these doors is the gamer at work. All of their arcades that aren't on the floor. And, you know, the kind of repairs, extras they have. I've never stepped foot in here. Hopefully one day, you know, it's employees only, we'll be able to go there and just kind of see behind the scenes at the Garcade. And to help protect this area, they do have pretty creepy ghosts just kind of keeping everybody away. And him just kind of popping up, saying stay clear, and some minions staring you down with his one eye. Yeah, unfortunately we can't get back here. It'd be cool one day to actually see, you know, behind the scenes at the Garcade. I mean, I want to say there's over 100 arcade machines here, and all the shooters we just came up to, the back wall over here where the racers are, and then the pinball further on, and then it's just like everything else. It's just all the cabinets, all the arcade machines. Like, it's crazy. Back over where their Capcom fighters are. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Marvel Superheroes, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 4, Killer Instinct, and Tekken. It's nice they have Simpsons beat 'em up. They do have Turtles, OG, and X-Men, but not Turtles in Time. Actually, the only time I've seen Turtles in Time in the wild since, you know, my teenage years is at Galloping Ghost, and it was on one cabinet between Turtles and Turtles in Time where you could pick. I haven't seen a dedicated Turtles in Time cabinet for a long time. You know, I realized that they don't have Lethal Enforcers here anymore. It has been replaced with the Ghost Squad, which it looked cool and everything, but it's interesting that they have two Area 51 type games and not Lethal Enforcers. I wonder if it just wasn't drawing the popularity, if a lot of people weren't coming up to it, you know, if they're monitoring. Somehow they can tell how many games are being played, what games are kind of idling. I've never understood that. I know Turtles OG, I'm not taking anything away from that, not bashing it. It's a great game, but you'd think they'd have both Turtles. Narc and Turtles in Time are kind of missing from this arcade, along with other arcades we've stopped at, and I think those are like staples that should be at every place. And of course, X-Men, my all-time favorite. Total Carnage, another classic game, a lot of that Smash TV vibes. And of course, Road Blasters, one of my favorite racing games. Not really a racer, kind of a combo between the racer and the shooter, along with Spy Hunter, another favorite control. I guess with Star Wars also, you know, just can't really beat those. Just love seeing all those pinball machines lit up over there. Not a lot of people here. If you plan on coming to the Garcade or any arcade unlimited play, Sundays I've kind of found are a really good time to just come here when they open and just get in a lot of stuff before it really gets crowded. Even though you can basically go up to any game, you know, you pay for the admission, the $20 to get in, and you know, there's no limit of what you can play, but you're just dealing with, you know, more people here. Like if you want to get onto, you know, Sega Star Wars. Speaking of Sega, another game I'd like to see here is Sega Spider-Man. So Narc, Sega Spider-Man, Turtles in Time. I think, you know, the next time we come here, I'd like to see a couple other new titles here. I think that'd be really cool. Kind of their party area here. They do have the candles for the Halloween. A couple of pinballs over here. It's kind of branched off. There were more pinballs last time, a lot more claw machines at the arcade. They do have a ghost coming out of the RIP, another inflatable over here. And this is roped off for private parties. Just wanted to see if any of the arcades that we didn't see out there were over here, and like Lethal Enforcers, but unfortunately, I'm not seeing it. It must be behind those closed doors. When I did see the Garcade at the Midwest Gaming Classic back in April, they brought a ton of arcades. Like, so they hauled a couple of U-Hauls and took arcades downtown Milwaukee, and I remember seeing these at, you know, kind of back to back at the expo. And yeah, so this is where they hide out, and maybe everything over here were those arcades that they did transfer, and this is kind of their area where they didn't want to, you know, lose anything over in the unlimited spot, and you know, the private, not having like any appointments, any parties at the time. They thought maybe it'd be better just to take these, so maybe that's where they got them from. But I've never went anywhere past this red rope. But it's interesting, this is where they hide a lot of their, or keep a lot of their unused arcade machines. Cabinets. Am I getting it right? I always say arcades. I guess I'm in an arcade. I always call them arcade machines, but in fact, I guess it's cabinets, something that I guess I gotta work on. Well, that's gonna do it for today. I wanna thank everybody for hanging out with me, coming through the Garcade. It's always fun coming here. You know, people have a blast at these unlimited arcades, and it's always stuff you want to see. You don't always come across it. I don't know why I keep focusing on this wall, but the Beatles, never played the Beatle pinball before. Classic early Beatles going back to like 1962. So yeah, it's kind of the bubblegum era, I suppose. You don't see anything past that or up to the Sgt. Peppers, and then when everything just kind of changed. Look at that topper. Nothing like a Sunday at a free play arcade. Very open too. I always like to do the bonus scene of the facilities, the restroom, decked out for Super Mario Brothers. Just your entire childhood, all in the bathroom. Actually, I don't even recall seeing Switch and Shoot here, in between Total Carnage and Smash TV. I can't remember what was here before, if anything, but that kind of fits the spot here. Look at this. I never played that. Robotron, like, you know, they keep it together. They have the Robotron, the Smash, and then Total Carnage right around the corner. But yeah, just kind of an oddball, kind of in between there. Cuber Cubes, Joust, Sinistar. Out of all of them, isn't the artwork on Karate Champ just the best? Thanks for coming along with me for this Wristbands Required at the Garcade. We'll see you guys next time. Mondays are closed, Tuesdays through Thursdays 3 to 10, Fridays, Saturdays 11 to 11, and Sundays 11 to 8. No outside food or drink is allowed. Wristbands required. Yeah, we did the Garcade again. Always loved this arcade. I just wish they had Narc, Sega Spider-Man, Turtles in Time. And I wish Mr. Sulu was still over here. Kind of changes the dynamic of, is the Star Trek ALP really the way to go? After Mr. Sulu kind of disappeared, kind of transported him, is that when they say energize? Did they energize him out? Did somebody actually come and pick him up? One of the last nice days, I'm guessing, leading into October. I'm sure we'll get some nice warm weather here and there, but man, winter is coming. I'm sure the next time we'll be at the Garcade, it's gonna be a lot different temperatures, and you might actually see me wearing a knit hat, winter hat, coming and going, doing these outros, intros pretty quick in the elements. But today, it's a good day. Had a good time at the Garcade. Always a treat, a pleasure to stop there. You always thrive for what new arcades, what new games could they get? I always say arcades. I'm gonna get a lot of heat for that in the comments. It's their cabinets, Phil. You gotta call them cabinets because you're in an arcade. They're not arcades. I like to call them arcade machines, but I just gotta get used to saying cabinets. Anyone else like, or is it just me? I don't know. Nonetheless, we'll have another Wristbands Required soon. It's been a long time. And we'll be sporting this one for a couple of days. I always like to keep my Garcade Wristband Required on. Till next time.